This is a reading from the book Jinn Sorcery, published by Scarlet Imprint in 2018. It's a really incredible book, and if you're interested in the Jinn or indeed interested in Islamic magic as a whole, it's certainly one worth pursuing. It's also quite a beautiful book, even in just its standard edition. It's written by Rain Al-Alim, and it is essentially a compendium of conjurations and evocation rites, techniques for scrying, and then there's Jinn Evictions as well. So it's quite an interesting book, and it's one that probably isn't to be taken lightly, as would be indicated by the disclaimer at the start of this book, which I should probably relay to you as well. The author of this book has taken care to ensure the authenticity of the information and techniques contained herein. He is not responsible in the whole or in part for any harm or injury, physical, mental or otherwise, which may befall the reader as a result of following the instructions in this book. It is understood that many of the techniques, rituals and conjurations are given for scholarly purposes, and that there exists a potential for injury when using the techniques and practices described. Neither the publisher nor the author guarantees the legality or the appropriateness of the techniques, acts, rituals, exercises, and conjurations contained wherein. Now, I'm not going to go through any of those particular elements. I'm just going to read the preface, because I think the preface is of value along with the themes that I've covered already on the Jinn, particularly who are they, what are they, where does belief in the Jinn come from, what are their features and common characteristics. A belief in magic and the Jinn plays an important part in the Arab world. The Arabs believe in the existence of beings whom they ascribe the generic name of Jinn. The primary meaning of the root JNN means to hide, to conceal. The grammatically correct masculine singular form in Arabic is jinni, and the feminine equivalent is jinniya. Jinn is the plural form. Islam accepts the existence of subtle, non-human entities as part of God's creation. According to the Quran, the Jinn are invisible spirits that live amongst us and were created before men. The 1001 Nights contains a considerable body of lore on the Jinn, both those who have accepted Islam and those who are heretics. Their modes of appearance and disappearance, their enchantments, their love and desires, and the means of capturing and binding them. It is commonly believed that these spirits live in tribes and nations, and belong to different religions, whether Muslim, Christian, Jewish, or infidels. The Jewish Jinn are generally held to be the worst kind, whilst the Muslim Jinn are considered good and pious. The wicked shaitan, or devils, are servants of Iblis, who launch harmful attacks against humans. The spirits are organized in tribes under chiefs and princes. Each genie is dangerous because, like the Arabs, the power of his tribe is behind them, and will avenge him if need be. Jinn are characterized by their transient, volatile forms, and can change their appearance as they desire, while angels, who are created from light, are considered to be benevolent. The nature of the Jinn is ambivalent. There are good and evil ones among them, but generally the evil and dangerous connotations prevail, with the shaitan viewed as being particularly sinister. In the Arab Muslim tradition, the Jinn are neither the souls of the dead, ghosts roaming the earth, nor are they forces of evil battling the forces of good. Jinn are intelligent, subtle beings, powerful creatures that can travel long distances in the twinkling of an eye. They are able to pass through walls, swim underwater, and reveal the future. But like humans, they eat, drink, make love, and die. The Jinn are as innumerable as the sand, being of different types, different sexes, different religions, different races, and speaking different languages. They may communicate through a human host, or one may hear them as disembodied voices. Sometimes one may glimpse them, as they can assume the shape of humans or animals in order to appear to us. Yet Jinn are different from humans in nature, appearance, and power. According to the Quran, they are born of smokeless fire, while human beings are created out of clay. which makes physical contact between them impossible. Also, jinn are invisible beings. They can see humans whilst they cannot be seen. Moreover, jinn are capable of performing miracles. The Quran mentions their ability to traverse time and space at incredible speeds and to transport unbelievable weights. Because of their numerous powers, the jinn account for much of the magic perceived by humans, often cooperating with magicians to accomplish their feats. There is a fundamental belief in Al-Ghayab, the unseen and unknown, in the Islamic faith. Sorcery, or sihr, is viewed as an attempt to control the forces of nature, either for good or evil purposes. As such, it is forbidden according to Orthodox Islam unless it is done with God's explicit permission, as is the case of miracles performed by those favoured by him. Magic and sorcery have been practiced widely in Arab culture. An individual practicing sorcery is called a sahir, plural sahira. Sihr is traditionally distinguished as being either natural, sympathetic, or demonic. Natural magic makes use of the hidden properties of natural substances, while demonic magic involves the help of spirits and jinn, usually malevolent demons, or shaitan. Although the jinn often visit mankind of their own free will, there are also many ways in which sorcerers can summon them. These methods, if used clumsily, may expose them to temptation and peril. For most people in the Muslim world, the jinn represent dangerous and demonic creatures, but sometimes they can render helpful service. It is believed that jinn manifest in humans through fits of possession. When a body falls to the ground in an epileptic or paralytic fit, it is said that the genie inside manifests its presence. Thus, an act of exorcism is needed to evict, or at least appease the genie, depending on whether the host benefits or suffers from the spirit possession. This process is accomplished through various rites. The practice of exorcism, or Jinn Eviction, is called Sir or Sara. The term Sara is used by Middle Eastern healers and magicians for the healing process, or exorcising the jinn through struggle and submission. It is derived from the Arabic word sar, to throw to the ground, to have an epileptic fit. Some healers work through a genie kabir, informant, who instructs them as to how they should treat the patient, by reading their future and so on, or revealing to them the location of a hidden spell, sihr, which has to be extracted or undone. The jinn can cause many different types of sickness and harm to humans, affecting their psychology, mood, health, wealth, possessions, relationships, business and studies. Bad dreams, fainting and unusual diseases can indicate possession by a genie. Any kind of mental or physical disorder could be caused by a genie, particularly if modern methods of diagnosis and therapy yield no results. Therefore, mental instability and disorder are frequently attributed to a genie's power, and the word majnun, crazy possessed, is used in such cases. There exists a rich language to describe the jinn, with terminology for the different types of jinn. Hin is said to denote one tribe of weaker jinn, or those spirits immediate between the jinn and men. Gul comes from the root gala, meaning to seize. Afrit are usually malevolent. The verb afara, from which the noun is derived, means to roll in the dust, i.e. to bring down. And so the name is used of powerful spirits. Marid is derived from marada, to be rebellious. These jinn are said to be the most powerful and are very arrogant. Silat usually denotes a female spirit. The sheik has the form of a bisected man, as if divided vertically, and often attacks lonely travellers. Amir is any genie that lives in a house or near people, and Rohani is a genie who is said to live in the air between the earth and the sky. Furthermore, they are often alluded to by such expressions as Al-Ariya, the winds or airs, Al-Jawad, the bountiful, generous, Sukan al-Amar, resistant jinn, as Sidna, our Lord, and Raj al-Hafia, the hidden men. Jinn are ranked by their magical strength and standing within their own society, with the greater jinn being highly intelligent and extremely dangerous, while lesser ones are more akin to mischief makers. The social organization of the jinn community resembles that of a royal court, in which most of the jinn are offspring of the 7 jinn kings, categorized as archdemons and leaders of the infernal hosts. These rulers are traditionally associated with the 7 planets, with a color, and a day of the week attributed to each of them. They have many subjects and advisors drawn from the tribes under their rulership. The old Arabic grimoires refer to them as the several terrestrial kings, Muluk al-Ardia. They are governed in turn by 7 angels of the days. In addition to Arabic occult lore, gives a number of different leaders, kings and queens of the Jinn. For example, King Tarash is the ruler of the Umar al-Buyat, dwellers in houses, all Jinn who reside with humans. The Qarin is another important type of genie. Qarin, or Hamzad, means constant companion, and is derived from the root Q or N, meaning to join, to couple, or to yoke. It is believed that for each person in the human realm there exists a Qarin in the parallel Jinn realm. Qarana may be female or male. Qarin is masculine and Qarina is feminine. Usually a Qarin resides in a male and a Qarina in a female. Sometimes they are described as our individual shaitan, and most of them are believed to be evil. They try to lead us astray throughout our lives. Abba Di Baj is the king of all Qurana. It is the Qarin who knows the character and deeds of the dead. During seances, the genie can pretend to contact the dead, allowing them to speak to the living, when in fact the genie has contacted the Qarin of the dead person. The Qarin, as the constant companion of the dead person, knows his entire life history, can mimic his voice, accurately answer any questions, thus fooling those present. Iblis, or Shaitan, is the Islamic equivalent of the devil. He is the ruler of all underworld and malevolent jinn, or Shaitan. Iblis is viewed as a demonic figure or fallen genie, whose primary task is to incite humans to commit evil through deception. Shaitan and his minions are whisperers, in that they whisper into the hearts of both human and jinn, urging them to sin. Iblis is most likely a contraction of the Greek diablos, although the Arab philologists derive the name from the root BLS, because Iblis has nothing to expect, Ublisa, from the mercy of God. He is also known as Abdu Allah, the enemy of God, and Al-Abdu, the enemy. According to a hadith narrated by Ibn Abbas, Iblis revealed that his name had been Azazel, and according to another account, it had been Al-Harith. Well, that covers the introduction on the preface to that book about the jinn. Some interesting bits of information I wasn't aware of previously. It goes on to explain different methods of conjuring the jinn, which I'm not going to record just yet. I might leave that for a later occasion, till I've studied the book a bit more. Some bits I'd like to kind of take away from that, again looking at what this is describing, what the human experience is that's been described here, where we have Iblis being described as the whisperer, and that to me kind of really marries with the idea of Satan as the father of lies, the prince of lies, to encourage sin. And in some of the texts I read out previously, particularly the Catholic ones, they talk about kind of the idea of the suggestion of sin, trying to encourage sin, and that's the purpose of demonic entities. So there definitely seems to be a hugely similar behavioural pattern between jinn and the Christian idea of demons, which isn't surprising. I mean, they both religions are from the same area, and they share a lot of the same texts and prophets and what have you. What's even more interesting is when you take the idea of demons or jinn and you layer them over a non-Abrahamic belief system, and you start to get similar traits again. And that's something that I think works rather strangely with the British and Irish idea of fairies. These aren't the cute fairies that live in the bottom of your garden. These are the traditional fairies, the real ones, the ones that were dangerous. And some common traits you have with them already is the idea of they're dangerous, they're not to be trusted, they're tricksters. So at the lower end of the scale, your garden variety jinn or fairy is a trickster, someone that will trick you and is not immediately dangerous. And at the top end of the scale, they are absolutely mortally dangerous in every capacity. And certainly when you look at the suspicion that the fairies were held in, when you go back maybe a generation or two in Ireland, it's very similar to how people of the Islamic faith perceive the jinn. They don't like saying their name out loud. They use talismans against them. Certainly within the Irish tradition you would have pishogues, which is the Gaelic word for kind of talismanic spells, to prevent the fairies impeding on their life. And one of the things I've pulled up before in one of my lectures is the use of iron as a talisman against the jinn and against fairies are used in both these cultures, despite them being thousands of miles apart. And that to me either suggests that there is a cultural link of some description, which is possible, or perhaps these are two cultures describing the same experience, unbeknownst to each other. It's interesting. I'll be interested to get your thoughts and comments below. Are they real? Is there something to this? I certainly think it's a topic that definitely needs to be explored further. Anyway, thanks for listening, and expect more videos soon. Thank you. Bye.